All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We'll give a couple minutes to make sure as many people can join as possible. I'll do a bit of housekeeping up front while we wait for our joiners to join. But for anybody who might ask, we will be recording this and sending it out afterwards. But hello, everyone. Please pop a hi in the chat just so that we know everything is firing correctly. We have myself, head of growth at Nonsensical, here today. If you've joined us before, you will have met me before. If you're new, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. And today we also have a very special guest, Brogan. Brogan, do you want to do a quick intro?
Hi everyone. Really happy to be here. I'm Brogan, head of fashion and beauty key accounts for TikTok Shop UK. Really excited to kind of take you through where we're heading right now and dive into some strategies and tips to have success on TikTok Shop.
Lovely. Yes, really excited to have you here. Thank you so much. We've done a couple of things before. I know you've worked really closely with Ollie and Sam, our CEO and CCO, on some things before, and you also joined our in-person event at the start of this year. So, yeah, we know that the insights that you're bringing today are just going to be really valuable, and so excited to have you. I know you've prepared some slides just to kind of talk through, I guess, a bit of an intro of what we're going to cover today, and then we'll open it up to the floor for some questions. But if you want to kick that off, happy to do that now.
Let's do it. Right, let's get my screen shared. All right, give me a shout when you can see this.
All right, all good there.
Amazing. Thanks so much for the intro. Yeah, as mentioned, I'm Brogan. I'm in charge of new business for fashion and beauty key accounts in the UK. Specifically, we're going to talk around fashion and the opportunity for brands and retailers on our platform here in the UK. But we're going to set the scene a little bit on a bit of like a TikTok Shop 101 from everyone who's never used it before. Maybe they use it in their personal, but have not used it in kind of a work setting, to maybe people who have started their journey and want to start seeing growth and uplift and some optimizations. Yeah, I guess to kick off and set the scene about TikTok. Well, TikTok is, of course, an entertainment platform with pretty significant reach. We have over 1 billion global monthly active users, which makes us the #1 app for downloads and average daily time spent. And of course, for kind of everyone's interest on this call, a pretty big opportunity on the commerce side, or what we kind of call TikTok Shop. And yeah, in the next sort of 15 minutes or so, I'm going to give you an overview of kind of really how we're enabling success through our closed loop e-commerce solution, and start kind of showing you the case studies and reference points that we see really working. And then afterwards, we'll dive into a few questions and potentially engage with some of the people on the call. In terms of like how we're stacked in the UK right now, we have around 36 million active users on our platform. And as you can see, 50% of them are between the ages of 18 and 34, slightly female leaning. And we're seeing some pretty significant growth in some of the demographics on the right-hand side of the slide. Really kind of just reflecting that TikTok is a platform for everyone. And the algorithm is driving some pretty exciting responses that drive a lot of watch time. In fact, our TikTok users are spending around 120 minutes a day on the platform in the UK, which is pretty significant. And you can see who we're kind of stacking up against when it comes into this field. Entertainment platforms who are driving long engagement through really powerful content. And it's that entertainment piece that I kind of really want to focus on at the start. We're seeing now that the community and that entertainment that's built around it is a really significant tool in any kind of brand and retailer's arsenal on our platform. In fact, we're seeing those who lean into it kind of most significantly are cutting through better and converting better. You can see over 60% of brands on our platform find that they're seeing more interest with their products when they kind of lean into the elements that TikTok can help bring to life. And, you know, predominantly that's short videos, but of course we're going to talk a little bit about lives as well. And I think just naturally being open to the unique elements of what the platform of TikTok can do, and really kind of bridging that trust gap, which we'll focus on the slides to come. And I think just to set the scene a little bit further on that is what makes us unique as a platform is we're actually a platform that can enable a touch point at every point of the funnel. That's quite unusual, and most platforms do one of the points of the funnel well, and traffic kind of comes to it based off the strategies and maybe the area that they're focusing on. But the beauty of TikTok is it can be a platform where you can discover a product for the first time on your For You page, and through the power of the algorithm, you can search it. You can, find the best trainers to wear this summer or the best restaurants to go out in Barcelona. You can take action around all of those elements by engaging with content, sharing it. And crucially for us, the element we're really going to focus on is the conversion, the lower end of the funnel, where you can purchase directly in-app through our closed loop solution. And what we kind of call this as a platform is discovery commerce. There's a lot of noise about kind of social commerce in the market right now. Our take on it is discovery commerce, and to kind of understand what that is, it's essentially that hyper-personalized community and authenticity that is natural to TikTok, built around a really convenient checkout that is ultimately enabling a really joyful experience. And when it works well, it really leans into the best elements of TikTok Shop. And TikTok Shop at its core is a closed loop integration within the TikTok app. So it's different to that ad that drives traffic to your website. It enables a conversion within one platform in a couple of clicks. And we're going to show you in the next few slides exactly how that is enabled and brought to life. But the good news is kind of when our brands and retailers are leaning into this, it's driving some pretty exciting results. TikTok Shop was actually the fastest growing platform in the UK last year. We grew 180% year on year. But I think more crucially for the people on the call, the increase of shoppers and the active sellers on the platform was pretty significant as well. We're on track to maintain this level of growth across this year, and brands and sellers are really using our platform as a way to engage new audiences, connect the dots, and drive some pretty exciting interaction with their current shoppers and potentially new ones. So what actually is TikTok Shop for someone who's not seen it, engaged with it, or even bought something before? Well, essentially, it's a flow from the For You page to a checkout in about 2 or 3 taps. You'll see in this example with Puma, the product is tagged just above the username on the left-hand side. You can tag up to 20 products. And when selected, you're taken to an in-app PDP environment, which usually has around 6 or 7 images, price, information about the brand or seller. And it invites you to choose, in this case, your size. But of course, this can be your color, your shade. We offer lots of different products across different verticals, but focusing on the fashion side, it's usually size or color related. And from there, you're invited to check out. And around 70% of our users are using iOS. So that's Apple Pay or your saved card. It truly is frictionless and it truly is seamless. And the real goal for us is to take that user from the For You page where they're engaging with that fresh, exciting content to a checkout in as few steps as possible, and then back to engaging with that fresh, exciting content they like. The final pillar is probably where we're going to get some really interesting kind of discussion around, is this advocacy pillar. And this is where creators or even customers can make content about their experience, about the product on the platform. So naturally, we're building like a bit of a loop from someone who's maybe discovering a product for the first time, purchasing it, and maybe in the future even making content about that product and on the platform and driving sales for the brand, seller, or partner. How do we enable this? Well, there's 4 kind of key funnels of content that enable us to drive conversions. And I think we've already touched on the shoppable video, which is kind of very much the low-hanging fruit. You can tag up to 20 products, as I mentioned. So that's that full get ready with me, that full haul video, that full head to toe look. And that's really what we're seeing our shoppers and customers really lean into, is that full head to toe look is a really big opportunity for creators to kind of bring to life relevant products. But supporting that is a really innovative and new space of live shopping or live commerce. And this is a really significant growth area for us. We have around 6,000 live streams taking place every day in the UK. So if you've not seen one, I definitely encourage you to go onto the app and check one out. There's loads to choose from in the fashion space. There's lives pretty much all evening and over lunchtime, and definitely check them out. And on the right-hand side is our showcase and shop tab, which are more search-driven elements with TikTok. We are a platform which is actually now seeing our Gen Z user search within about 20 seconds of opening the app. So a great opportunity to lean into a marketplace element within the app. And we'll kind of dive into the specifics of having success there in the slides to come. So in summary of kind of what I've presented so far, what does this actually mean for your business? Well, if I could focus on two areas that I think are driving the most amount of impact is the incremental sales to new audiences. When we focus on that creator strategy that we've kind of brought to life on the slides prior, we know that those creators can be real, authentic advocates for brands and products. And this is fantastic for unlocking new audiences and customers. Of course, supporting that, when all those elements work well, we know that we're a platform that has lots of relevant data touch points as well. With a lot of users becomes a lot of data points that we can really help to serve who is our current customer, who potentially isn't our customer right now, and how do we enable a more effective strategy to understand both sides within the app and platform where they're spending most of their time. And the great elements of all of this is when it kind of works well, it's driving some pretty fantastic results in the fashion space. We've got lots of relevant case studies which we'll share in the chat kind of throughout the course of the webinar. But I want to focus on particularly one element that's driving some great results for us here in the UK, which is Zalando. I think we all know these two retailers, right? They're pretty big players across Europe, with ASOS being a particularly large player in the UK. But Zalando are coming at it from a slightly different perspective. Large European share, but maybe not the same share or impact in the UK. So using our platform to convert new customers is a fantastic opportunity for them. And here's a great case study, or a slide from a case study that's publicly available for everyone to kind of view and see, is that when they lean into those creators that are resonating with their audiences that they want to unlock, it's a fantastic tool to find new customers. And the results really speak for themselves. Zalando were able to unlock 97% net new customers in just 3 months. So those are shoppers never shopped Zalando before, potentially not heard of them before in the UK. I think most people know that they've got a fantastic selection of products. We just need to find the right creators to communicate that to the platform that we're looking to unlock on. And this was a great piece of work that drives some pretty phenomenal results and is really going from strength to strength for us still. And yeah, not just new customers, the right shoppers. We're looking at 20 somethings in London, key city areas, who are trend progressive and trend first. And yeah, but there's many more case studies that kind of reflect similar outcomes from this, and I'm sure the guys will share the links for that. So as I kind of wrap up the presentation element of the webinar, I want to kind of double click into a few elements on how to be braver just generally on TikTok in 2025. I think the first thing is just to really lean into the hyper unique elements of your brand and product. It's a fantastic tool to educate, entertain, and enrich a community within TikTok. We see that when that works well, it's predominantly done through storytelling. So giving a perspective of your brand and your products that shoppers or users won't see in other places. Really understand that this is an opportunity to build real authenticity and also therefore trust. And we see when that happens consistently, that suddenly you're not just a large brand that maybe people have shopped before or heard of before. You're someone that is engaging with an audience and community in the place where the shopper is. When all of these things combined, it's a pretty significant opportunity to ramp up and drive some great results on TikTok Shop. Leaning into the aspects of the platform that can help and enable that is a great tool as well. Leaning into our platform editing features, the tools around replying to comments, the search elements too, are all fantastic elements. But focusing on these 3 specific pillars is a fantastic place to start. And in summary, kind of as I wrap up this first intro session, is the brands that we are seeing outgrowing the rest of the market right now are the ones who are truly leaning into the creator-led entertainment content. So letting that creator reflect your message to your potential customer in the platform is a fantastic tool that we feel is really starting to show dividends in our market. Creators can give a perspective to your brand that you're potentially not able to communicate yourself. In many cases, in the large brands that we work with across the globe and in the UK, customers tend to know how they're going to turn up on our platform and other platforms. It might be their latest marketing assets or ambassador reflected into our platform. But a creator can be truly authentic and give a perspective of someone who's really utilizing and bringing the product to life. And the results are significant, not just from sales, but everything from EMV and application and just general positive impact on the brand and storytelling. So really exciting. In terms of content that we're seeing really work right now, I want to focus on a few that are really driving some great results. And these ones are specifically in the beauty space, but they apply really naturally to the fashion world too. We obviously see a lot of momentum with trends. That can be sounds, that can be challenges, that can be dances, leaning into the elements that make TikTok are great, but also using back in stock. It's a great tool to drive awareness and excitement about a product that's potentially already had a great start. Replying to comments, as I've mentioned, product demos. So for fashion, that's get ready with me, hauls, anything that inspires like creator trends. And education, showing them the best bits about your product, showing them about your materials, your ethical storytelling, whatever it might be. It's a fantastic content story and lends itself perfectly to the short video format. And make sure you get up your posting frequency, because we see that as a great driver of success, especially for shoppable videos. So thank you for that kind of intro session, and for everyone tuning in for that first session. I'm just going to stop sharing now and go back to Melina. So hopefully you could hear me and see me again.
Yes, I can. Thank you so much. That was really helpful. Some great insights there and a good overview as well. So we're going to kick off the Q&A now. I have some I guess, written out questions, but if you guys want to start popping in your questions, we'll get to those in a little bit. But I guess for some of the things that you were touching on, the trust, affiliates, all of that, I think they're really, really powerful tools that TikTok Shop has, being able to show the products in a new way that I don't think you're able to do on other platforms before. But I do feel like TikTok Shop is still relatively new. So are there any, I guess, barriers that you come up when talking to brands that are looking to get on the platform, that they're a little bit hesitant to kind of take the plunge? If so, what are those barriers and how would you kind of negate them, I guess?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I think, yeah, TikTok Shop is still relatively new. I mean, we've been live in the UK since 2021, but in the grand scheme of things, that is obviously quite a short amount of time. And there comes a level of adaptation that happens during that time. And I think one of the biggest ones is the way that brands are working with creators, or what we kind of call affiliates. There's a pretty significant shift, I think, happening in this space. And I'm not kind of here to say that I think influencers and those big ambassadors will not play a part in brand strategies. But what I will say is I think there is a real sort of learning and understanding happening that creators who are true customers of your brand and product, who are being authentic and natural, and a platform like TikTok is a really important and valuable tool. And TikTok is a platform that really connects the dots there, the brand, the product, to the creators that want to make the content. And I think the first thing to say is that it's a great opportunity to drive an affiliate or commission driven opportunity. So creators will get paid a predetermined commission based off the sales that they make, which is quite a big shift of kind of the influencer world that's come before us. And I think what makes that exciting is it's a great and cost effective way to start working with like lots of affiliate driven impressions. I think as well, like one of the most common drawbacks or questions that we get at the start is, okay, but like I'm used to working with like a handful of really pre-selected influencers that we kind of control and vet, and this is you kind of telling me to like have a little bit more of an open approach. And I think the first thing to say is that open approach can be the first step to unlocking a new customer. If you're working with a real consistent base of influencers and affiliates, it's difficult to appeal to maybe customers that you've not been able to unlock yet. And our creators are often experts at finding that unique perspective. You still do have control in the platform. Creators can be selected through two plans, our open plan and our target plan. The target plan is where you pre-select creators to work with predetermined product, and you set the commission, and only they can make content about that product. So that could be a great, first step for the already existing talent you have. The open plan is where you essentially open your products up to the 1 million plus creators we have in the UK. You get the requests in from the creators and you approve the ones that are the best fits for you to get samples and drive content. You can then review the content when it's posted, and in a happy world, you see the impact and sales that they're driving. The controls are there as well, where if things don't align, then of course you can respond appropriately. And also it's important to recognize that, the algorithm works because it rewards good, high quality content that's finding the right users, potential customers, and leaving creators to kind of drive that impact through the value and the power of the algorithm is a really important first step. But I understand that can sometimes be a leap from what's already existing for these big brands and retailers.
Definitely. And I think also on the open plan, you can still select who you actually move forward with. So it's not just like anybody's coming to you and, that you just kind of completely let go of the reins. It just kind of lets you reach, like you said, new audiences, new potential ambassadors. And I think there's also something in saying that not all affiliates look the same as well. Like they could have hundreds of thousands of followers, or they could have 1,000 followers and still get really great impact. So it just kind of allows you to work and collaborate with more people that you might not have considered at the beginning. And in terms of risk, like Brogan said, there is definitely levers in place where you can kind of make sure that it still aligns with your brand. So one to test, one to look into, but definitely one that I think is going to be really big. But I guess on that trust side, because there's an element of trust that you're kind of building with the customers themselves, but there's still that trust from brand to affiliates that could be built over time. Is there anything that you would recommend to kind of help the brands feel a little bit safer when working with the open plan affiliates specifically upfront?
Yeah, I think is like leaning in and understanding the metrics that we provide in the affiliate center around these creators a really great first step. So we'll provide insights into who their audience is, how many followers they have, what content have they produced in the last couple of weeks and months, and what success are they having, and do that's a lot of tools that can help you make that decision on whether they are a good fit. I think when you do identify good talent, and we see this all the time now, is that creator who's applying through the open plan, who you accept and then has success with you, often becomes a really integral part of your creator strategy moving forward, because they have that authenticity and understanding of the product. So build a community with your creators as well. There's lots of channels, and we often use Lark, and if you've worked with TikTok, you'll know that Lark is a great tool to build a community group with creators, and you can then share briefs in there. You can message them in the app and talk about the important aspects of your product to make sure that when that content does come out, it is really aligning as close as possible. But yeah, the first step is definitely leaning into the metrics we provide. To your point, not just followers, because we're a content first platform. So despite follower base and size or demographic, the beauty of it is that the creator that produces the most relevant, authentic content will be rewarded, despite them having hundreds of thousands or maybe just a couple of thousand followers,
Yeah.
I should say. So that's a really powerful thing. And I think also it kind of speaks a little bit to the opportunity, is
Mm.
that like any brand can compete and do well on our platform as long as they lean into the entertainment factor of the content. It really kind of levels the playing field in that respect. And we see that all the time in the fashion space. Is some of the biggest brands are actually now competing with smaller, more agile brands, because they're producing content that's more relevant to the consumer that they're both targeting,
Yeah.
which I think is a really exciting element of a platform that rewards that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you said that in the fashion industry, yes, it's happening on TikTok, but also in beauty. I mean, the likes of P. Louise just kind of shot up, and they're now competing with the likes of L'Oreal. So
Yeah,
it's a really big opportunity for all sizes of brands, and it's just how you kind of lean into that.
for sure.
Um, just on the content piece, we have a question saying that they've heard multiple shoppable videos per week can come across as distasteful, but yet you suggest posting about 5 to 7 a week. Just wondering if this is a suggestion that you've evolved over time. Do you always recommend more shoppable videos a week? And what about non-shoppable videos? Sorry, lots of questions there.
No, it's a good question, and I think I'll probably tackle it in two sides. Is like there's probably two types of content that we should focus on from a shop perspective. There's brand led, right? So this is coming from your own handle, and then there's creator led, right? So there's the key difference between the two. I think just being realistic with brand led content, there's probably like a ceiling on the amount of pieces of content you could produce, right? Most people are posting at most two TikToks a day. That has variance, but like two TikToks a day, and it's difficult realistically for big brands and all size brands to scale that. So the first thing to say is creators can scale that for you, right? They can post multiple times a day. You can work with more creators. We encourage a creator to post 3 to 4 times per sample, which of course increase the impressions, but the likelihood of conversion. So that's kind of the first thing I would say. And in terms of the balance between that brand-led content, when it's shoppable and non-shoppable, it's really important consideration that they are kind of designed to do different things on the platform. And if I can kind of cast back to that funnel slide that I showed you, is that that like non-shoppable video will often drive more views and more impressions because it's designed to drive awareness, right? It's being served to a wider cohort of potential users and customers. It's something that is driving lots of different potential touch points on the platform, and the algorithm will work hard to serve that to the right people. A shoppable video is designed to convert, right? So it's happening slightly lower down the funnel, and the algorithm will be working hard to serve that content to someone that it believes is more ready to convert. So maybe they've actually seen your non-shoppable video a couple of times that they opened the app ago, and they've come back and been brought back, which TikTok does quite well, to a shoppable video, right? And understanding the balance of the two is really important. And yes, to the person who asked the question, I would definitely say having a real natural balance for you on shoppable versus non-shoppable is super important. I would say one shoppable video a day, one every couple of days is a great place to start. Our more scaled up fashion brands are producing between 5 and 7 a week, but that's maybe under the backdrop of lots of shoppable, non-shoppable videos too. So yeah, not every post should be shoppable for sure, and lean into what each one's trying to do. You'll have pieces of content that naturally are more product focused in your brand led strategy. So that's a great opportunity to tag it and drive that conversion. But if you're doing more storytelling, more behind the scenes, more awareness driving stuff, yeah, it's okay to make that non shoppable because you're serving each different part of the funnel quite naturally. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, I definitely think it does. And let me know if it doesn't. Feel free to hop in with another question down the line. And I know you mentioned that creators are encouraged to post 3 to 4 times per sample. And there are some tools on the back end to kind of keep a track of how many times they're posting and things like that. Is there ever an instance where maybe they're not posting as much, and how would you kind of, I guess, go about managing that situation?
Yeah, great question. So like it's important consideration to remember that when we give a sample to a creator, like we want to drive ROI, right? That sample is free in most cases to the creator, but not free to the brand and retailer. So we want to make sure that when we're working with talent and creators, they do drive the best outcome possible. So we actually measure creator post frequency as a percentage. So we will basically target creators to post as close to 100% for per samples that they've received. And you'll be able to see that metric within the seller center, the back end of TikTok Shop, and make a call based on whether you think it's a good bet. Over time, creators that consistently don't post with the samples they're receiving do get kind of marked by us, right? This is not something that we want to encourage, and we respond accordingly to that. It's important to remember that these creators in most cases love your brand, love your product, want to work with you, and of course want to drive sales. They have an opportunity to be part of that through the platform. So it's not really in their interest to not post either. But yeah, it's all measurable. You can make decisions and strategies based around creators' post frequency. And as I say, the percentage tracks that all.
Definitely. And so far we've kind of talked mostly about leaning into content, leaning into the way that the affiliates create the content and volume. Are there any other levers like media spend that a brand could use to kind of help amplify that a bit further and make the most of the content on the platform?
Yeah, this is a really important element of our strategy, and one that we're working really closely with brands and partners on to drive success. And I think like a great scenario could be, you're starting to work with affiliates, right? And you let's say you start with 20 in your first month, and you're testing out the open plan and the target plan. Out of those 20, like the vast majority of them will drive successful outcomes for you, and the ones that drive sales will produce amazing, authentic content to them, of course. Of those pieces of content that do drive sales, a few of them will be outstanding, right? We see this all the time, and they will be worthy of like a paid media opportunity. We have a product called GMV Max that actually automates a lot of the process of selecting creator content and then monetizing it as an ad to drive an ROI for you. But what we want to do is make those creative pieces of content work as hard as possible. You've given them a sample, they've produced content, they've driven a sale, they fit your brand, they echo your message perfectly across the platform. So that's where we want to make it work hard. That's where we use an ad product. You set your budget, you set your desired ROI, or essentially ROAS for GMV Max, and then the algorithm of the GMV Max product works for you to deliver against that. It's risk-free in many cases because it will only spend when it knows it can deliver the ROI of the ad. And there's nothing, we're seeing some fantastic results with creator driven ads because it's served in the same way on the For You page, but of course targeted to a potential user who we want to convert against in an ad format. So definitely, I think as a good starting place, we would say 15% take rate is a good kind of position to be. So out of your first month's GMV, around 15 or revenue, about 15% of it reinvested back into ads is a fantastic place to be. And then you can kind of optimize and work from there to get the results that you want to around your paid strategies.
100%. And I guess just on the kind of going back to the affiliates, you mentioned kind of starting out with a smaller sample of maybe 20 and growing that as you continue to scale and get performance. Is there, with fashion brands specifically, there's usually quite a lot in terms of their product portfolio. Is there a way that you kind of recommend approaching sampling, like choosing hero products or whatever, so that way they're not kind of sending out lots of disparate items?
Yeah, so I think it's really important in the first couple of stages to build what we see as like a bit of a sample decision tree, right? So it's natural on the platform, you know, if you're a brand that's kind of known already, or maybe you're starting to build your identity on TikTok, you will start to get requests like fairly quickly through the affiliate plans. We have a marketplace where creators can discover and find products to make and request content to make about. So you want to make like a bit of a decision tree for your brand on the platform. So what kind of creators do we work with? Do they speak to this audience? Yes, no. Do they have this kind of sample post rate? Yes, no. Do they have like a average order value that's close to us? And these questions can be determined by you. But when those creators do fit the decision tree and you're getting lots of yeses, it's really important that you understand that like that the ROI is built around the kind of decision making that you are predetermining at the start. And those creators can drive some pretty exciting results when the fit and the feeling is right across all of the key metrics that you need your brand to work against. When you've got that in place, I think it's easy to then go from like a couple of hundred requests a month to something that is delivering like 10 to 20 pieces of affiliate content from there. And yeah, having that in place from the start is really important, but I think it's natural that you can refine that over time. And yeah, don't be afraid to like test and learn with creators too. It's important to remember that potentially like a creator doesn't drive a sale for you in the app, but it's still driving an impression for you. It's still serving a point in the funnel for you. It might not drive a sale straight away, but the life cycle of that content could drive a sale down the line. So bear that in mind. And yeah, if you can get that decision tree working for you early, like it will be really valuable in 2-3 months as you scale.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you so much. We have another question in the chat, and please, guys, get your questions in. But how do you encourage a creator to deliver storytelling type of content? Because technically, you can't brief affiliates. You can give them suggestions, but you can't necessarily control them as you would a influencer script, for example.
Yes, it's a good one. And yeah, it's true. Like I think the best brands and retailers on our platform having success are ones that are letting the creator kind of bring it to life in their own unique way, like letting them drive the true kind of content that they want to or potentially already known for making. You can message creators in the seller center. We have an IM tool so you can communicate the kind of messages that you want to through that. But I think the best way to do it is just look at creators who are already kind of producing that style for you. Like in the affiliate center, you can see content from the past like 2 or 3 months in the feed, and then you're able to kind of review which is the kind of best storytelling creators that fit your kind of messaging. So I think that's like the first way. As well, like if you have any reference videos that you've created that lean into that storytelling perspective from the brand side, like share that with the creators too, because they'll be able to see it. And you got to remember the For You page for all these affiliates and talent and creators is actually like a discovery tool for them to make content too. So in most cases, they might have stumbled across your messaging and your identity, and they can help reflect that. But yeah, viewing their previous content is really important. You can do that all in one place using the IM tool, message them, ask them to lean into storytelling, and then yeah, going from there and working with them to kind of bring it to life in their way. And that's kind of the core of the opportunity, right? Is leaning into something that's unique to them as a creator. So leaning into them being brave on that front.
Yes, just similarly to how you would work with influencers, to be fair, because you work with those people because they already have an established content style, an established presence, and you don't want to go in and completely change it. So find the ones that are already creating in that way, and then just give them suggestions where it's not necessarily rewriting everything that they do. We do have another question about personalization. Is that an option on TikTok Shop at the moment?
It's a good question. Unfortunately, it's not an option right now. We are kind of working on this opportunity in this space. It really does depend like on your integration type, but I'd say like for now, like not quite. We've seen, especially in the fashion space, like customization start becoming a trend and kind of working in that space. But as of now, not yet. But I would say kind of keep an eye out in the next couple of months.
Absolutely. And so we have some questions that come from clients when we're trying to onboard them or having that initial discovery. And there's kind of this conception that TikTok Shop is a bit of a discount platform or along those lines. And that can be a bit of a turn off for some brands, but I know that that's not necessarily the case. So you want to chat about that and see how you might respond to those types of queries.
Yeah, I think that this is something that we get too. And I think the first thing to say is that our average order value is pretty much doubling every year now. It's pretty significant growth on that front. We're seeing in the UK average order value is kind of getting close to the £50 mark. And the most important element to drive that is content quality, right? Like
Mhm.
content quality is proving that it can command higher price points. We see sports retailers, fashion retailers drive full price trainer sales at £100 plus because the content is good enough to drive that. Of course, we are a platform that is serving lots of different users, lots of different products, and there are different price strategies there. But rest assured, in the fashion space, we're actually driving like full price strategies pretty much the majority of the time now. What we are seeing is that we're having moments for like campaigns within TikTok. And if you don't know what these are monthly opportunities to lean into platform support to drive like a bit more flexibility about your pricing strategy whilst leaning into the increased traffic that we're providing during those times. And most brands and partners are kind of leaning into those moments to be flexible with their price and then maintaining a more consistent price strategy for the rest of the time. So yeah, this is kind of what we're seeing the majority of the time now, and I think that's also good because it's driving like better user interaction as well. Like our users are understanding when these campaign moments are, and they can kind of align across that. But yeah, the content is the key differentiator there. To be honest, that's what's gonna be able to command that higher price point for you. I think if I double click on it specifically, lives are actually a really interesting one here because we're seeing that lives are a really great tool to drive higher price point or high ticket sales because as a user you could ask about detail stitching, like it might be like a shade or a color, and it helps you make a more informed decision about your conversion. Short videos do a good job too, but when you can actually interact in real time, that's pretty impactful.
Amazing. And I guess just on that live aspect, I know it's gaining popularity and people are going live more and more. Is there any type of cadence? Because I know it's kind of similar to posting cadence in terms of how often and how long people should be going live for.
Yeah, it's a good question. And I think the first thing to say is that if you're interested in starting like a bit of a live strategy is to actually like view it as something over like a longer period of time. Don't just like go live once and then kind of like make your call from that. Like do it over a couple of weeks. And we see highest traffic in the evenings, maybe starting from sort of like 6 into sort of like 9 or 10 p.m. at night. And we would say like a great place to start is do like a 2 hour live, right? Two to 3 hours is a really good amount of time in the evening to start benefiting from the extra traffic that we can produce. You can imagine it like people come home from work, they're getting into their evening routines, and it's a really popular time to go onto TikTok. As I mentioned at the start, we've got about 6,000 taking place every day across a variety of different categories, everything in the fashion space to beauty to electronics. So yeah, start by like checking them out. Also, a really important or what we would kind of suggest is the first step is actually like maybe start your live strategy with a creator. Like it doesn't have to be brand led to start. In most cases, these creators are actually experts at going live already, so they've got that setup nailed and they know what their audience want to see. you could educate them about your product and they can really resonate with them in that live environment, and you can then ease into your own brand led lives, and potentially build it a little bit more of a set, and something more consistent with what you're producing across other channels and mediums. But yeah, that would be kind of our advice: is go live in the evening, start with a couple of hours, look at some consistency over the course of a couple of weeks, and then also have a look at what creators can do from you to start. Getting them the product's pretty easy through the platform. They can request it, you can build a plan around it, and then they can go live for you, which of course is a massive lift on the resource side.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess I know that there are like kind of different tiers of lives almost. There's kind of like the always on lives, and then there's more hero lives. I saw a couple, I can't remember who it was, and I know it was beauty, but they did like a ball pit and things like that. So those are activations that you can grow into. But in terms of getting started, you can start a little bit smaller and just get the learnings up front before you start going all in, because it is resource intensive, but it's absolutely worth it in the end. So
Yeah, definitely.
amazing. And I guess just in terms of, I know you mentioned the average order value is getting higher year on year. What are some other trends that you're seeing that might also help, I guess, slightly more premium brands make that decision to jump on there at the moment?
I think what we're seeing work really well with premium brands is that they understand that, like, ultimately TikTok is a platform where they're already like showing up, right?
Mhm.
They're using it to communicate their own messaging and storytelling, and more and more these premium brands are noticing that their consumer is here, right? Like, they're already engaging with them here, so give them the opportunity to purchase there as well as the future. We've already started to see lots of interest and excitement about maybe bringing the catwalk to a TikTok live. How do we kind of connect the dots there? And I'm so confident that we will be there soon in an environment where that like new product drop that's being live streamed on a catwalk is actually going to be shoppable within our platform. But the exciting thing for premium brands is they're, on the whole, not just like fashion designer and luxury, they're on the whole pretty progressive, right? They're prepared to lean into newness and features and find new ways of innovating. And we're finding that shop is definitely like the next focus area and step for them. And I think they do everything from creating their own custom skins and stickers and advertising tools on TikTok to also
Mhm.
like bringing creators into the mix too. So in fact, we saw a great example from Burberry earlier this year, where they were leaning into TikTok viral influencers in London who had gone viral for making great content around buses and passing them on the street in London, and like utilizing them in their campaigns. So it
Yeah.
just goes to show that that trust gap, it can be bridged in a really natural way on TikTok.
Amazing. And I guess with a lot of brands as well, they probably already have like their influencer list, their PR list. How would you recommend they kind of make use of those existing relationships via TikTok Shop?
Yeah, this is like a really easy one. Like, you're already working with maybe, let's just say, 10 to 20 creators a month on like a semi-permanent basis, or maybe you're contracted with them. Like, why not add them to your first target plan, right? In most cases they will already be live as a shop creator. We're seeing that happen more and more. But yeah, get them in a target plan and get them adding your already existing briefs to a shoppable element. That feels like a really easy first step. They already know your brand, they know your storytelling, you work with them frequently, they get it. It's just a simple case of them making it shoppable and adding in a tag. And that's a great way to like take a step with your own environment kind of being controlled and covered. Yeah, we would just say add TikTok shop to the deliverables. That's what we're seeing
Yeah.
happen more and more now. It's adding a target plan with your 20 talent that you can just kind of add product in and out of is a great way to do it.
Yeah, definitely. And it also kind of saves you the hassle of going out and searching for new creators, and you have that trust already if trust is something that you're a little bit wary about entering a new space. So that could be really useful. Um, I had a question about how important it is to already have like an existing community or following on the platform. Does that make a huge difference in when getting started on TikTok Shop from scratch?
Actually, no. I mean, not at all. And I think that leans like nicely into what we were saying earlier, is that the content is really what's going to kind of help differentiate, and the platform wants to reward that real, original, authentic content more than anything. And follower base is not a predetermined factor of that. And we've worked with brands all the time who set up maybe local handles to lean in and focus on trends that are specific to our market, for example. And we help scale them from kind of 0 followers. And yeah, again, creators come into the mix because they can help like basically accelerate that learning time and also that awareness time for you. But yeah, most people navigate TikTok through the For You page, right? So they're not following these people. It's being served to them based off the content signals that we're seeing, which is a great opportunity because that means that anyone who's prepared to make content can have a slice of that and earn that kind of impression and that watch time on the For You page.
Yeah, definitely. And it kind of goes back to what you were saying at the beginning. It's a tool for discoverability, and that's becoming even more and more true with the likes of search becoming more popular. So, is there anything in line with SEO that can help impact or improve your TikTok shop performance and strategy?
Yeah, and yeah, just to focus quickly on that discovery point, that's
Mm.
exactly it. Like a platform that really just wants to lean into the discovery elements based around content is quite powerful, and we're probably seeing that happen less and less across the board and just other platforms. Like they really are focused on different kind of signals to share and show content, but TikTok is a place where you're truly coming to watch and be entertained, and that's really exciting on the discovery front. You know, seeing a product for the first time with maybe that creator that you love is really powerful. And yeah, as we've spoken about search a few times. Look, we're definitely not a search engine. We don't trawl websites, but we can serve content based off search criteria. And more we are seeing people use TikTok in a traditional search sense. Yeah, as
I
mentioned
definitely
at the
do.
start,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, we see our Gen Z user, as mentioned, search within about 20 seconds of opening the app now. And that can be anything from like a really open-ended search query, like best trainers to wear this summer, you know, where can I buy whatever. And the platform should lean in to taking that user on a journey. It can be from a search bar at the start to an anchored comment in the description to a video suggestion at the top bar. And then suddenly you've gone from a quite open-ending search question to something that's actually a really specific creator with a specific product that's taken you
Yeah.
on a journey of discovery. So yeah, SEO tools are enabled in the platform. So you can optimize all your listings against search. You can see the most searched products. You can see what trends are taking shape, and it's all automated. You know, you can basically do it in a couple of clicks, which is great. You know, when you're working with lots of listings, that's really powerful.
Yeah, 100%. And I know even like creator search insights from not a shop perspective will show you what's trending. And when looking at fashion specifically, there's always like trend analysis things trending. So like summer fashion trends is probably a trending search query at the moment. So it's how you can pick from those things and kind of weave it into your shop descriptions, your product descriptions, if it's like linen pants, the perfect summer linen pants, for example. So just
Exactly.
getting a little bit creative with that to kind of help you be even more discoverable than TikTok's already allowing you to be.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, we're seeing more and more that TikTok is a place where trends are starting, right? Like we're seeing people come to the platform like niche first, culture first. They see it as a place where they are more open to talk about things that are relevant to their niche or their trend or their moment. So that builds really nicely into products. And we mentioned some stuff about hero products, but yeah, optimizing for that process to happen more quickly is what we're kind of all about. So using the AI tools, using the SEO optimizations, finding searches that are already having success in your category is a great way to do it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think also, I mean, obviously trends are really big on the platform from fashion trends, but also just like trending content and sounds and things like that. How do you say that that kind of weaves into the content aspect in terms of trending sounds and things when creating for TikTok Shop specifically?
Yes, it's a good one. I mean, I think like we always encourage good TikTok content to be like sound on, sound first, like utilize those elements naturally. And when things are trending, it can be a great opportunity to find lots of impressions just by being relevant and on that trend. So, yeah, keeping a sound that works well with kind of the messaging and the story is great. And yeah, the commercial music library is a great way to find like rights cleared music that you can use in your shoppable content, and that's sometimes even in itself a great USP, right? You know that it's, so you know, completely controlled and protected from a TikTok perspective to utilize it. And yeah, there's lots of great elements to lean into and use in that space. And yeah, tagging the sound and the product is super easy. If you've not done it, I'd encourage you to try it yourself on your own phone, or download the app and give it a try.
Yeah. And again, it all adds into the discoverability because if people are interacting with a specific trend and you use a similar sound, you might be served up in that algorithm. So,
Definitely.
um, there's a question around like common mistakes brands might make when setting up on shop fashion and also non-fashion brands. Are there any that you consistently run into that you could advise against?
It's a good question. And I think that the start, what we call like the cold start on any new platform, is always like new and different to, it's a new environment. And in this case, it's a new way of selling. So like what I would say first is like, allow yourself some time. Like be patient with yourself. Like you're starting in a cold start environment with potentially a new product on the platform, and trying to find a new consumer. And yeah, if you're consistent with some of the strategies that we've spoke about, you'll find things ramp up very quickly. And it's often that like one spark and that one video that suddenly just drives momentum, and it becomes like a bit of a snowball effect. But I think like in terms of operational stuff, we encourage as many products as possible. Like we know that our algorithm wants to see that. Not only is it a great signal for our algorithm, but it also encourages more content possibilities with creators, right? There's more choice. And also from a search perspective, there's more options. So leaning into as close to your full catalog as possible. I'd say at the start, like attribute extra budget to work with talent and creators and samples. The predominant cost is sampling, right? You know that you're setting an affiliate based commission. So they'll only be paid based off the sales they produce. So sampling is the key focus. I think if you kind of nail those 2 points, you'll see things kind of build quite quickly. And starting with ads, we have a great GMV Max product for search ads. So you can already just benefit from having your products listed and people discovering them through search, and getting that set up early is important too. And you can refine from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you mentioned this a while ago in terms of a bit of doing something on TikTok that can't be seen on other platforms. So whether it's the content you're producing or otherwise, is there uh, is there any recommendation or benefit to having more exclusive products like a TikTok shop only, whether it's a product or a bundle, and how do you kind of recommend going about that?
Definitely. And the
Mhm.
brands that are maturing and growing with us are doing that more and more. They're releasing products here first on our platform. They're also getting feedback about their products on our platform because they know that that's where their consumer is really leaning in and really kind of driving a lot of relevancy. But if that's not possible for whatever reason, like bundling is a really great way to do it. Like
Mm.
give an exclusive combination of products that they can't get anywhere else. We see that work really well. But yeah, exclusivity is a fantastic message to be able to drive through content. Imagine you're on the for you page, you're seeing a product for the first time, and you're seeing it is actually the only place you can buy it in this color or this shade or in this style, or maybe in this combination of goods. And that's a great strategy to start with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a misconception that people think exclusivity on TikTok Shop and it's only related to pricing, like exclusive pricing, and that's just not the case. You can be a little bit creative in terms of how you set up your shop with the items that you might launch there first. Like maybe it's not even just TikTok Shop only, but it's TikTok Shop first for like a week or something like that, and you can be um, a little bit more aggressive with how you prioritize TikTok Shop to kind of get you in front of those new customers and just take advantage of everything that the platform has to offer.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that, yeah, as we say, we're seeing that happen really effectively in the fashion space, especially
Yeah.
with like the seasonality that comes with the product, right? Like we are a vertical or an industry that changes more than most
Hmm.
seasonal. We're just in the UK specifically, like we've just come off a period of like really hot weather to like maybe not so good UK summer weather, and now it looks like it's going to get hot again. So we're used to that like changing product strategy, and I think that's yeah, something that can be really valuable when it comes to TikTok as well, because you can communicate those changes in the storytelling through that.
Absolutely. Just looking at one of the questions that we got, it's how do you get brands to lift off that are following all your advice but still don't go anywhere, even if they've tested some of the things for a few months? Are there any like quick, I guess not quick fixes, but initial things you would recommend to change?
I think like there's definitely always things you can check and optimize for. And like the first thing is like price consistency. You know, like are you offering a price on TikTok that is consistent with your own D2C? Like potentially people could be seeing your shoppable content, going to your website and purchasing it, and they're like kind of taking that extra step, which is unnecessary. So that's the first one. Optimizing for that like straight away. Making sure that your descriptions are kind of like accurate and aligning to kind of the information that you need. Make sure that all of your technical stuff in the back end is working. We have lots of really effective integrations now that can get your products live and working really well to deliver that sale. And then yeah, I think as well, just be prepared to like test a little bit on the paid side. Like maybe there's different optimizations or products that you can lean into from search or video based ads that can help that. But I would say like a good start, like a good like 4 week period at the start is like a sensible amount of time to like leave to test stuff, and then from there you can start like okay troubleshooting stuff that's not working. But with lots of growth, we are seeing like more competitive elements come to life within the platform. So with creators and good content, but that's also exciting because that means the opportunity is big as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kristen, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but it's also just understanding what levers you're using to promote as well. How many affiliates are you working with? If not many, maybe start broadening those out. Affiliates are a great tool, but they can be hard to kind of get across the line. So the more you reach out to, the more you're likely to get the good engagement that you're looking for. Not sure if you're doing any paid media behind to kind of cut through and put your product in front of more people. So just kind of look at everything. I know we've talked about a lot. It's kind of hard to give an exact dissection of what you might not be doing, but go through that checklist that we've kind of run through today and see if there's anything specific that you haven't tried or haven't done enough of, or might be able to tweak a little bit, and let us know how it goes.
Yeah, definitely.
Scott, I asked a question about limited runs just off the back of our chat about exclusivity and maybe doing TikTok shop only or first deals. Do limited runs have a similar effect in terms of driving that higher conversion?
Definitely. It's a
Yeah.
fantastic conversion lever. It drives like a sense of urgency. Like we're no different as a platform in that sense. And the great thing is like creators can talk about that more readily, right? Like we see it all the time. Like people have challenges with communicating these elements on other mediums, whether that's text-based, PDPs, email, but like get a creator to talk about that. That also has a fantastic impact on returns. You know, we see incredibly low return rates versus like industry averages because creators can talk about size and fits and colors and whether they sized up or down, and you know, important aspects to help facilitate a healthy purchase flow. So yeah, 100% on that front, Scott, for sure.
Limited runs, go for it. We are coming up to time, so I want to leave everybody with kind of some closing words from you and your wisdom. If you were, I mean, we talked about so much already, but if you were to kind of hope that people who joined us today take one thing away in terms of what maybe to get started with or go and check straight away, what would that one thing be?
I think the first bit, or most, yeah, the most impactful advice I can give to kind of take away is like just take that first step with our creators. Like they will do a lot of the heavy operational lift for you in terms of like the content production, maybe even going live, and our platform enables that process to take place really quickly, getting them a products really fast. They can produce content in a couple of days at the longest, and then suddenly you've got a shoppable impression on the platform that's driving a completely different point of interest and difference. So that'd be the first thing, and then get up to speed with our ads products, because I truly feel they are really innovative in our space and they are driving some pretty phenomenal results. The combination of those two things, like you will see results.
Absolutely. And not to plug any other webinars, but we are doing another webinar with a very special TikTok ads representative, Susie, who will be joining us later this year. So we'll feed that out to anybody who's joined if interested. But thank you so much, Brogan, for your time today. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Hopefully, it's been really insightful. If you have any other questions that you think off the back of this, feel free to shoot us a message. I know we popped up some LinkedIn links earlier, so feel free to get in touch with us. But Brogan, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time and all of your insights. And sorry for the interrogation. You did really well.
It's always a pleasure. Thanks so much for having me, guys, and setting it all up. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me and, of course, the lovely team at Nonsensical.
Amazing. All right, we'll leave it there, but we do host these about every other week. We're trying to do more of them. So if there's any specific topic that you're looking for, again, just feel free to shoot me a message. We want these to continue to be informative, but hopefully we'll see you on many more to come. But in the meantime, have a lovely day and enjoy, if there's sun, the sun.
Very much. See you guys.
Bye.